Reskinned content, a very hot topic amongst the Destiny community, and today I thought I'd share my thoughts on the matter. Before we get started with the video, I just want to say thank you so much for all the support on the channel recently. You guys are all awesome, and I'm really glad you've been enjoying the videos. I'm continually working hard every single day on new videos for the channel, and it really means a lot that you guys are here, so thank you, seriously, thank you so much for all the support. Anyways, that's all I have, let's get right into the video. Throughout Destiny 1 and especially Destiny 2, reskinning old content has been undeniably seen throughout every aspect of the game. From returning exotics, reskinned weapons and armor from Destiny 1, seasonal content being a reskin of old DLCs, and even an entire $30 expansion that was full of 90% reskins. So the question is, are reskins bad for Destiny? Well, from the title of this video, you'd probably assume that I believe the answer to be yes, they are bad for Destiny. And for the most part, that is how I feel. But I'd be remiss to say that I haven't enjoyed some of the quote-unquote reskinned content inside of Destiny. There have been a few instances where reskinning content has been done right, and I much appreciated and enjoyed it. Like the Age of Triumph update. It brought all content from story missions, strikes, and most notably the raids to current levels and added things like challenge modes to the Vault of Glass and Crota's End, along with new armor sets and exotic level primaries. Age of Triumph felt more like a celebration of the old content and didn't try to pass it off as new content. I have a whole video discussing why Age of Triumph was the greatest update in Destiny and when the state of the game was at its peak, so be sure to check that video out after this one. Another great example of a reskin done correctly was the Warden of Nothing strike released in Forsaken, that at one point had us going back into the Prison of Elders. The fan service and the quality of this reskin didn't feel cheap. Rather, it felt like an extension of the area that we were familiar with and had us exploring more of the surrounding areas until finally making our way through the Prison of Elders arena we all know and love from Destiny 1. So why do people not call out something like the Warden of Nothing as a lazy reskin and instead praise it for great fan service? Because like I mentioned, it's a great example of reskinning done right and felt more like a celebration of the old content or an homage, rather than an excuse for shamelessly reskinning old content just so they could put something out there. Sadly, reskinned content that is good like this is something of a rarity inside the Destiny franchise. Destiny 2 has been the biggest offender of bad reskins ever since its initial release.
Let's see this assault rifle. Oh wow! The origin story in green and brown. Okay.
Leading up to its launch, Bungie touted that Destiny 2 would be a fresh start, saying goodbye to old gear, content, and that Destiny 2 would be the next chapter. But over the last 3 years of Destiny 2, it's clear that Bungie's real intentions were to keep releasing more and more weapons, armor, and content from Destiny 1 and sell it all back to us in DLCs. In their marketing since release, Bungie has presented this old content as new exotic weapons and armor. New Crucible maps. New patrol area. Destiny 2 has shamelessly re-released a numerous amount of exotics from D1 to the point of embarrassment, leaving the community frustrated by seeing their returns, rather than happy. I thought all of our old gear got blown up in the Red Legion attack, Bungie. Why do old weapons and armor keep returning? They haven't slowed down with the reskins either. In fact, they've gotten much worse. Various reskinned weapons and armor are marketed inside their roadmaps, and most recently, reskinning the entire Trials of Osiris game mode. This one really stung for me because Trials of Osiris was one of my all-time favorite activities in Destiny 1, and somehow, some way, Bungie found a way to make it even worse than it originally existed in Destiny 2. I mean, if you're going to reskin old content, Bungie, at least do it properly. But one of the biggest blatant examples of a bad reskin, in my opinion, was the Shadowkeep expansion. Now I do want to mention that there are some redeeming qualities with Shadowkeep. I like the few additions to the moon, the raid is alright, the dungeon is great, and the nightmare concept for the story is pretty interesting. But I can't help but feel that the nightmare concept was born with the intentions of, how can we reskin old content without it looking too obvious? Shadowkeep has us visiting an old area from the moon in Destiny 1, and overall, I don't have a problem with them bringing back the moon. In fact, I'd love if we could visit all the old areas from Destiny 1 inside of Destiny 2. but my problem with Shadowkeep stems from the overuse and the reliance on fighting old enemies. And I know that that's what nightmares are. Nightmares of past enemies. Like I said, the concept is cool, but it really feels like a cop-out and just a poor excuse for reused content made for an entire expansion. Making my way through Shadowkeep's very short story, only one of the 5 missions was actually unique. The rest were just old bosses reskinned as nightmares. Even the final story mission inside the pyramid ship didn't even have us fight a single new enemy or villain. We have waited forever to see these pyramid ships, and all that was inside them was nightmares? No other enemies could be bothered to be made for this long-awaited moment? Not a single new enemy related to the darkness to fight. Sure, we got the darkness talking to us in a 10-second cutscene, but that was it, and we haven't heard a peep about that incident ever since. Then later in the Garden of Salvation raid, the raid armor was just Eververse armor from an earlier season, and the weapons were just grassy versions of Curse of Osiris weapons. This whole expansion is what I consider to be a perfect example of a bad reskin. Although I'm sure they tried to capture a similar fan service feeling like they did with the aforementioned Warden of Nothing Strike and the Age of Triumph update, they didn't quite pull it off. Instead, Shadowkeep, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, came off as a lazy reskin with a weak story to justify those reskins. I'll give Bungie a bit of credit though when it comes to the new exotics in Shadowkeep. Only a few were old weapons, but a lot of them were actually new, which was so nice to see. The follow-on seasons to release after Shadowkeep continued to be more and more bad reskins. In my opinion, Season of the Undying reuse of the Undying Mind was an embarrassment and kind of ruined the cool lore that surrounded it in Destiny 1. Season of Dawn had a couple neat additions, but essentially was Curse of Osiris 2.0, albeit a slightly more interesting version of the original Curse of Osiris. And Season of the Worthy's bunker system is just a worse version of the Sundial and Escalation Protocol. The reintroduction of the Trials of Osiris turned out to be one of the biggest letdowns for the game and is a shell of its D1 counterpart. Trials of Osiris is truly the pinnacle example of a bad reskin though, because not only was it the game mode, the maps, the armor, the weapons, all copy-pasted from D1, they didn't even bother to fully reskin the mode. And like I said, if you're going to reskin something, Bungie, at least do it right. Trials of Osiris in D2 is missing adept weapons for flawless, meaningful bounties that reward you for your time. And they didn't even bother to reskin the Trials hand cannon from D1 called the Jewel of Osiris. But honestly, they'll probably release it in a future season and put it on a roadmap as a new weapon for Trials. I think at this point in the Destiny franchise, it's safe to say that a lot of players are sick of the reskins, but ultimately will still accept them because they've just become the norm. And Bungie is more than happy to oblige, making it easy on themselves to reskin old content. Look, at the end of the day, I get it. They likely have a lot of new stuff in the works that they want to sit on and use for Destiny 3. But that doesn't erase the fact that Destiny 2 has become a regurgitating machine, just churning out the same old content over and over and over again. From the looks of things, that's about all the future of Destiny 2 is at this point. But maybe Destiny 3 is when we will start to see something new. All I want to see is Bungie address some open story arcs and show us some actual new content. But again, those are just my thoughts and my personal opinions. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Are you kind of tired of the reskin content? Or are you still enjoying D2 despite the fact? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe for more videos on the channel here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.